Hello, good afternoon. Have you had your lunch, Darren? I hope so. Hello. Okay, I think we can start now. Hello everyone. Welcome to the Mind from Mood Summit by Naluri. So, my name is Balkis. I'll be your host for today's session. So, now just to share that in view of World Mental Health Day earlier this month, we are doing a string of 6 webinars which take place today and also tomorrow. So we're going to be covering various topics such as work-life balance, mood disorders, gut health as what is going to be covered right now. And then you will also get a chance to hear from the experts directly. So before we welcome our speaker for today, I'd like to remind all of you on a couple of ground rules. So first of all, if you face any technical issues, just tag Naluri events or you can tag Buckies and I will answer as fast as I can. Okay. And then, secondly, try to interact as much as you can using the features available, such as the chat box. And if you want it to be a private message, you can just tick the box at the top. Okay. And then, last but the most important thing, I hope you guys can be your curious self and absorb as much as you can in today's session. And please be kind and polite to each other in the chat section as well. So we'll now move to welcome Shirley Kartika for the topic on the gut mood connection. Shirley, over to you.
Okay, can you hear me okay, Bakis? Okay. Hi everyone. I wish I could see all of your faces instead of my own face on the screen. That would help a lot. I like to talk to people, and it's different from giving a presentation in person and in online. But anyway, so my name is Shirley. I'm a dietitian coach in Naluri, and today my topic will be on the gut mood connection, how gut is connected to our mental well-being, and how nutrition can impact that as well. So, just to start off again, my name is Shirley Kartika. I'm a dietitian coach. I studied nutrition and dietetics in the US, and for now, I'm specializing in chronic disease management and also gut health. And I put there a quote that I normally share with a lot of my members in Naluri is that we eat first to live and then we live to eat. And this phrase just sort of highlight my motto or my view in terms of food is that first we want to eat food that can add to our health, but we also want to eat food so that we can enjoy them as well. So that depicts more like a all-rounder well-balanced diet that not so much focuses on just health purely, but also eating is for our enjoyment and also for our pleasure as well. So with that, I think I'll start on the topic. So today, what I'll be covering is how gut health affects our mental health, nutrition, and how it can help optimize our gut health and therefore improve our mental health as well. And just some tips that we can practice, mainly all centered around being mindful. So we're gonna start today with a question. Like Bakis has mentioned, I like this to be more interactive. So please do try to respond as much as possible. I know some of you might be at work and so multitasking. But the first question I have is how familiar are you with the idea that gut health can affect mental well-being? Okay, I see the polls are coming in. I've never used Demio before, so this is the first time. It's quite cool that I can see the polls immediately. Um, I'll give it about another 5 more seconds. And it looks like majority of people have answered. So majority of you voted for not familiar at all. Actually, now somewhat familiar is there as well, and very few says never. Actually, none say never, and very few say very familiar. So maybe the ones who are more familiar will probably ask me a little bit more questions later, which I will address at the end during the Q&A. So the next question I have is, do you believe improving your gut health can positively impact your mood or mental clarity? Next poll, Balkis. Okay, so far the answer is leaning towards, again, somewhat familiar and not familiar at all, with very few who are very familiar. I'm glad that no one put never. I mean, it's okay if you've never heard of this, and it's good that you're here now, but it looks like everyone sort of has some form of idea on how gut health can impact mental health. Okay, we can leave the poll for now. And generally, this is more for you to respond in the chat. How's your mood today? You can give me an emoji, or you can give me a word. I guess here in the chat, I'm seeing that some of you have already made the connection on what gut health is. Gut health is also like our brain health. It's like our second brain. Some of you are sleepy a bit after eating. In preparation for this presentation, I ate my lunch at 11 so that I don't feel too tired and sleepy after my lunch. Overwhelmed, good, anxious. Okay, there is a good mix of positive and not so positive as well. I hope that after this presentation, you can feel a little bit more motivated to just make some sort of changes in terms of diet or lifestyle. Okay, so yes, there's a good mix of good and bad. Good news is today is a midweek. So for those who are not having a good week, I hope Thursday and Friday will be better. But if not, you have the weekend. So let me move on to the next slide. Have you ever felt happier after eating chocolates? Thumbs up, thumbs down. I see a lot of yes. That's great. Okay, so my main question is, how can something that we eat results in how we feel? So this also shows us a little bit of connection between what we eat in our gut and to our mood. So it turns out that actually cacao in chocolate is not just beneficial for our heart health because of its polyphenol or antioxidant content, but dark chocolate has also been recognized for its mood altering properties. It helps to enhance mood, it increases feelings of enjoyment and pleasure. So to most girls who experience that, you're not crazy. Chocolate does have an impact on mood. However, I have to know that this impact for mood, the studies are showing that it is only received when you are consuming uh, cacao products or chocolate products that are at least 85% and above. And that brings about a lot more benefit. In terms of heart health, it's mainly 70% and above. So, yep, there is a connection between eating chocolates and feeling better after you eat chocolate. Next slide. Have you ever felt butterflies when you are nervous? This is mainly possibly me right now, feeling a little bit of butterflies in my stomach as I'm presenting. And why is that? So, why is a feeling that you feel in your brain, in your mind, nervousness is felt in your stomach? And just to give you an overview, it is because our gut and our brain is connected and they communicate with one another. So it is the term that we use when we refer to the gut and brain communication is called the gut brain axis. They communicate with each other, they influence each other, and they rely on each other as well. So they are sort of like best friends. And that's why people often suggest, like what someone commented in the chat, that they say the gut is like our second brain. So this line of communication is what we call the gut-brain axis. And just like how I can communicate with you now through Demio, or I can communicate with my friends through WhatsApp, through social media, the gut and the brain also communicate in many various ways. Some of them through neurotransmitters. They are chemicals that are found in our body. They communicate through hormones, but they also communicate directly through what we call a vagus nerve. It is one of the nerve that is connected from our brain to the gut, and that's actually the longest nerve we have in our body. So that's direct communication, right? To and fro from the gut to our brain. And so next slide. Oh, sorry. So just to introduce again, what is our gut health? What is our gut microbes, and how much of it do we have? Actually, this number is crazy. I've never seen a number like that except when I'm doing this presentation or anything related to gut health. But we have about 10 trillion microorganisms. It's not 10 million, not 10 billion, but 10 trillion. And that's a lot of bacteria we have, or bacteria, yeast, fungus in our gut. And actually, this number itself is 10 times more than all the body cells we have in our body. So that is why sometimes people also often say that we are more bacteria than we are humans because of the sheer amount of bacteria we have in our gut. And this bacteria in our gut collectively can weigh up to 1 to 2 kg, which can be about the same weight as our brain. So that is quite crazy to me. I'm always quite surprised by this number. So knowing that we have such big amount of bacteria in our gut, it definitely plays some form of roles in our gut, and it definitely, what we do in our body definitely affect this bacteria. So let's see what influences our bacteria. Okay, I'm just seeing some things on the chat, just making sure it's not me. So yeah, what influence our gut microbes? So a lot of things impacts our gut microbes. Actually, it might be everything impacts our gut microbes in small ways and for some in big ways. So for example, the mode of delivery, how you were delivered as a baby, whether you are delivered vaginally or you're delivered through C-section, that can impact the amount of the kind of bacteria that you are first exposed to when you are delivered. If you're born vaginally, you're exposed first to the bacteria that is around the mother's vagina area. If you are born through C-section, usually the first few bacteria that are exposed to the baby is a bacteria that is in the hospital environment. Uh, Bottle feeding, breastfeeding, that also varies. When you are breastfeeding, you are close to the mother's skin where there's a lot of bacteria, viruses, and most of them are beneficial. And if you're bottle feeding, you don't have that luxury of being exposed to the bacteria so closely to your mother's on your mother's skin. Of course, antibiotics usage, geography where you live, and your diet and lifestyle. And having said all these factors, right, like mode of delivery, breastfeeding, and bottle feeding, is something that we sort of cannot control, because that's something that we're not we're not there to control as a baby. But what we can control now is a lot of to do with our diet and our lifestyle. Geography, give and take. Sometimes you're here for a reason. You may be overseas elsewhere where there is fresher air. That will be great. But really, what studies are showing, the biggest impact is your diet and your lifestyle. And then what I want to say is that gut microbiome diversity is essential to maintain health. So, and this is the whole reason for this talk today, right? What I like to picture the gut microbes to people is like, you can see it as like a ecosystem, like a rainforest. In the rainforest, there are thousands of organisms and species living together, benefiting from one another. And usually, in an ecosystem that is thriving, diversity of life is a healthy sign of a complex system like an ecosystem. And all the species and the microorganisms work together closely to make sure that this ecosystem thrive and moves along. But then when there is a disruption, then it can affect the entire ecosystem as well. So this is similar to our gut health. When a bacteria, like, okay, sorry. So in our gut health, similarly in our gut microbiome, what represents a good gut health is a gut health that has a diversity of many microorganisms. When one microorganism is overpopulating another one, that's when it brings about a little bit of an issue or a problem. And that's something we will cover a little bit more. How do we get a balanced ecosystem in our gut microbe? Um, so yeah, so that means the more different types of bugs there are in our gut, the less chance there is that one species or another will dominate and cause imbalance, and bring about many kind of problems. Another picture I liken our gut microbes to is like a neighborhood or like a village, right? If you are living in a village where everyone works as a firefighter, and if there is, someone with a heart attack and there's no doctors, then that is quite detrimental, right? A good ecosystem, a good village is one where everyone plays different roles and each role is important, and not one role is better than the other. So next slide. So again, um, our gut bacteria and our cells, we have a symbiotic relationship. So the body provides the bacteria with the environment that is conducive to their development. Likewise, the microbiota, they fulfill a certain number of functions that are very important to our body and to our health as well. So the brain gut connection. In short, the gut brain axis plays an important role in maintaining homeostasis. When they experience again imbalance, it leads to inflammation. It can lead to diseases pathways, and it can increase the likelihood of depression as well. So, in other words, our mental state affects our gut health, and our gut health affects our mental state as well. There is a scientific proven possibility that an imbalanced diet then could affect our mood and overall brain and mental health negatively, including increasing the risk of anxiety and depression. And on the other side, there is a growing body of research that has confirmed that irritable bowel syndrome have a strong brain component, including prolonged stress. So then let us focus more on how nutrition can impact our mental health. There are actually four known mechanisms that I will cover, and I promise this next four slides is the only scientific heavy slide. So bear with me as I try to explain it in more simpler terms. Yeah. So the first way out of the four is through brain plasticity. So what is brain plasticity? It is referring to the brain's ability to sort of reorganize and readapt both structurally and also functionally in response to like new experiences or activities or habits. And this dynamic process shows that the brain is not fixed but can change and grow throughout life. Even as you are aging, it can still develop. And there is a region in the brain called the hippocampus, which is related for learning, related for mood regulation. And this part of the brain is very susceptible to brain plasticity. That means it is constantly changing based on the stimulus it receives. And another factor for brain growth in the brain is called neurogenesis, and neurogenesis basically, um, it is it helps the brain to form neurons based on new experiences. And a lot of these neurogenesis pathways is very influenced by a factor called the BDNF protein. So this is second point. BDNF plays a major role in neurogenesis and brain plasticity. And this BDNF protein is very much associated with a healthy diet. And what is a healthy diet here when I refer to healthy diet? A healthy diet is a diet that is high in omega-3 fatty acids, high in antioxidant, high in flavonoids. All these are compounds that are found in fruits and vegetables, mainly plant-based food. And an unhealthy diet, on the other end, results in a reduction in BDNF protein production, and therefore not so good of a mood, and also not so good for cognition. And what is an unhealthy diet? An unhealthy diet is diet that is high in fat and high in refined sugar, basically highly processed food. Usually, what a lot of healthcare workers like to sort of compare between diet is the gold standard usually is called the Mediterranean diet, full of olive oil, full of omega-3 fatty acids, fish, full of nuts and seed, and fruits and vegetable compared to the American diet and the standard American diet. So the standard American diet usually is a lot of fast food, a lot of soft drinks, fried food as well. So yeah. Another way that nutrition can impact mental health is through inflammation. And this was something that I mentioned briefly just now regarding inflammation. So, inflammation, in a sense, if it's acute, is good. For example, if you are exposed to a bacteria or virus, your body naturally responds by increasing the body temperature, and that's where you run a fever. And in a sense, a fever is sort of an acute inflammation that helps to fight off bacteria and viruses. And in that sense, acute inflammation is beneficial for our body. But inflammation, when it gets chronic, that means it's something that you are facing constantly, then it plays a role in the development of depression. And study shows that pro-inflammatory food is associated with increased risk of depression, and anti-inflammatory food reduces the risk of depression. And again, what are some pro-inflammatory food and what are some anti-inflammatory food? Um, the basic idea is pro-inflammatory foods are foods that are generally found in the Mediterranean diet. Sorry, pro-inflammatory is generally found in the standard American diet, and the anti-inflammatory food is generally found in the Mediterranean style diet. The last way that nutrition can impact us in terms of our mental well-being is through oxidative stress. So oxidation is sort of a natural and necessary process, just like acute inflammation. They produce because our body constantly produce a compound called free radicals. And if you might have heard of free radicals in relation to cancer. Similar to inflammation, low to moderate level of oxidation in the body is beneficial. However, when these free radicals cannot be removed from the body by the lack of antioxidants and it accumulates, then it could lead to oxidative stress in the long term. So studies show that individuals with depressive symptoms have a lower antioxidant capacity and higher level of oxidative stress. And studies also show that antioxidant-rich diet could help with reducing oxidative stress. So a diet that is high in antioxidants, again, antioxidants are mainly found in plant-based foods. So think about Mediterranean style diet again. So, lastly, in how nutrition can impact mental health is what we've talked about previously called the gut brain axis. So, what the gut bacteria does, one of the major role is that it produces neurotransmitters. So, one common example is called the serotonin. So, serotonin is almost called the happy hormone, and it makes you feel good about yourself. It helps with your ability to concentrate, pay attention, and it results in a feeling of satisfaction. So serotonin, most people would relate it back. In the past, we often relate serotonin back to the brain because that's where it is produced. But actually, more and more research are showing that majority of our serotonin, actually almost like 90 to 95% of our total production of serotonin is produced in our gut. And then another, so that is why our gut health plays such an important role in terms of mood regulation. Another way that this gut brain axis communicates is through the production of other chemicals such as short chain fatty acids. And short chain fatty acid is probably one of the most widely studied compound in terms of gut health and how it impacts overall health as well as mental health. Um, yeah, and so lastly, again, to iterate, consuming a wide range of nutritious food usually mainly plant-based food that is high in antioxidants, and also omega-3 rich food, fish, nuts, and seeds can promote a diverse gut microbiota. And this is something that I will cover a little bit more later. So okay, that's all the scientific mechanisms or examples that I will be covering. That's the heavy part. But now, just to show you some scientific studies that is done. So one of the biggest studies when it comes to mental health and gut health is called the SMILES trial. And what they do in the SMILES trial is that this was a randomized control study that ran for about 12 weeks. And so in these 12 weeks, individuals who have clinical depression, they were recruited and they were randomly assigned to either a dietary support group or they are assigned to a social support group. So in the social support group, these individuals with depressive symptoms will meet up with counselors. They will have social support, receive counseling, and have someone to talk to about the problems that they face and the anxieties. On the other side, the half of the participants are assigned to a dietary group, receiving guidance from a clinical dietitian to make improvement to their diets, which is also again based on the Mediterranean style diet, increasing intake of omega-3, increasing intake of fiber-rich food, and about a few times a week. And what this study conclude is that dietary improvement provide an efficacious and accessible treatment strategy, and the benefits of which can extend to the management of comorbidities and also, in this case, depression and anxiety and mood disorders. Um, Next. So, how can we optimize our diet to improve our mental well-being? There are a lot of factors that influence our mental health and also affect our gut health. But diet is one of the modifiable factors that is readily available for us to constantly tweak and work upon and to improve. Um, and it could be something that is more affordable in terms of managing our mood and our if anyone also have some sort of depressive and anxiety disorders, this is an area that you can explore as well. I do see some questions in the chat. Bear with me, I will address that later in the Q&A as I go along in this presentation first. So this is another study, the effects that is titled "The Effects of Dietary Improvement on Symptoms of Depression and Anxiety." And this study is basically a meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials. And this is one of the gold standard of research, one of the higher quality research. That means they are comparing multiple studies that have been done. And it found that dietary interventions can reduce depressive symptoms. And although future research is still required to determine the specific components of dietary interventions that can improve mental health, explore underlying mechanisms, and establish effective schemes, this study shows is a strong promise that intervening with our diet and our lifestyle is a good intervention for reducing symptoms of depression across all populations. And then another big study that is quite well known in the Western world is called the American Gut Project. So in the American Gut Project, this involves scientists in the University of San Diego. They initiated this five about in 2018, and they collect samples from 15,000 over people, stool samples from United States, United Kingdom, and Australia. And what um, they found that the more different types of plants a person eat, the higher the microbial diversity of the gut. So this is back to the point of eating a wide variety of plant-based food can help improve gut health. And also, sorry, forgot. The researchers also discovered a link between the composition of the microbiome and people with depression as well. So back to diet. So a mentally friendly diet is a gut friendly one. And what is a mentally friendly and also a gut friendly diet? Similar to what I've been saying from the beginning, is like the Mediterranean style diet, which focuses on a lot of plant based food and focuses on a lot of omega 3 or healthy fat food. So, a mentally friendly diet first is high in omega 3 fatty acids. I will go into these individual categories more in depth as I go along. Rich in fiber, prebiotics. So, I think when it comes to gut health, a lot of the topics come is centered around probiotic supplement, and probiotic basically refers to live bacteria that you are taking into your body. Another big topic is prebiotic after probiotic. Prebiotic is available in a sense a lot as supplements, and that's what mostly people go to when they want to improve gut health. They take probiotic supplement, they take prebiotic supplement. But actually what prebiotic is basically fiber. And again, I will go into more in depth later. So another mentally friendly diet characteristics is it limits processed food. So fried food, um, highly processed food like fast food, processed meat like sausage, cured meat, red meat, like ham. All these are associated with a poor gut health because it promotes the growth of bacteria that are not so beneficial, which can result in overpopulation over the beneficial bacteria, therefore resulting in dysbiosis. So homeostasis cannot be maintained. Another characteristic of a mentally friendly diet is a balanced meal. And this I will go in depth again later as I go through the individual point. So in what are omega-3 rich food? Omega-3 rich food are mainly your fatty fishes, your nuts and seeds, and your oils. Um, so for, sorry, I think I have, yeah, anyway, please disregard the points underneath this category. I think I forgot to change. But basically, fatty fishes are like your salmon, your tuna, your sardines, your nuts and seed, a wide array of nuts. So, like your almond, your cashew, your pistachio, your walnuts. Walnuts are super high in omega 3. And your oils, so olive oil, that's usually the first whenever I talk with my members in Naluri when it comes to cholesterol health and also just health in general. It's good to look into the cooking oils that you use. I would suggest olive oil will be a great alternative. It's very high in antioxidants and is very high in omega 3 as well. And next one is the prebiotics. This is where I think I would spend the most bulk of my time in. So again, I think when people think about gut health, they often think about probiotics, but they tend to forget about prebiotic. Um, and prebiotic is basically fiber. And why is fiber so important? Because actually fiber is the food that most of these bacteria, especially the beneficial bacteria, feeds on. And the more they feed on, the more they are able to thrive in the ecosystem in our gut. And the more they bring about the health benefits that they can bring to us. So when we think of prebiotic and we think of plant food, actually this includes all your vegetables, your fruits, and your whole grains. So whole grains is like your brown rice, your quinoa, your corn, your couscous. Barley is also a whole grain. Your nuts and seeds, and also legumes. So and I forgot to put here also beans as well. So beans and legumes are like your green bean, red bean, black bean, pinto beans. Legumes are like your chickpeas, your lentils. And so the more we include this kind of food, the more variety of fiber there is in our diet. And so the more we eat this wide range of plant-based food that are rich in fiber, the more we are able to support a bigger diversity of beneficial bacteria in our gut. There is a saying in the past, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I don't quite agree with that in line of what we are finding in terms of gut health right now. Instead of just focusing on one kind of fruit, it's good that you can include a wide variety of food. So you can include your apples, your mangoes, your pineapples, your berries. The more colors you include in your diet, the more you're supporting a bigger diversity of gut bacteria. So this is like the term or the phrase called eat the rainbow. And this is why it's so beneficial to our health. And next one is probiotic. So on top of prebiotic, which I feel like is the main way that I would first work if you are keen to improve your gut health, is to increase high fiber food in your diet. Another way is through probiotic food. So a lot of people like to take probiotic supplement, but actually majority of probiotic supplement, I want to say up to 90 or 95 or even higher percentage of probiotic supplement out there is just a marketing strategy. um, there are studies that shows how probiotic supplement can be beneficial in terms of gut health, and usually that is tied to a specific symptoms that you are experiencing. For example, if you are experiencing chronic constipation or chronic diarrhea, that is a symptom of a poor gut health. And usually, when it comes to specific symptoms like that, there are studies that show the specific strain of bacteria that is beneficial to alleviate these symptoms. So, generally, if you are you are a healthy individual with no sort of chronic symptoms that is related to gut health, like IBS or IBD, then for health, there is not much benefit in including probiotic supplements. A lot of these probiotic supplements is really a marketing strategy, and a lot of them might not give you the benefit that it claims to have. um, and again, think of these probiotic supplements as live bacteria, right? And these can actually be found in food like yogurt, kimchi, tempeh, miso, natto beans. In Japan, they eat that quite commonly. Kimchi is a good one that I think even in Southeast Asia we eat quite often. So these are foods that you can include in your diet to support your gut health. In terms of bacteria, in terms of supplement, whenever you eat a supplement, the bacteria might not even survive the stomach, the pH 2, and usually it surrounds. People just take the supplement daily, but forgetting to actually read what is beneficial and how this bacteria can actually survive the pH 2. And actually, very few can survive, and is under certain circumstances. Lastly, again, limit processed food. And this is something I probably talked about a lot earlier. The standard American diet. This is basically your processed food, high in sugar, high in saturated fat, high in trans fat, very or little or none fiber at all. These are the food that is not so beneficial to our gut. And lastly, the way to have a mentally friendly diet is to also have a balanced plate. And this is something that is possibly something I talk about every day with various different members in the app, is to aim for a balanced meal with suku suku separu. And those of you who have been uploading food journal is possibly familiar in terms of the rating. When you have a balanced meal, it's likely that you get a green rating. And what a balanced plate look like is a quarter plate carbohydrate, quarter plate protein, and a quarter plate vegetables and fruits as well. And I include a little question here. Maybe I want to see the chat and what you guys' thoughts are. Is carbohydrate important, and what are carbohydrate containing food? Any rice, potato? Yes. Bread? Okay. Yes. Noodles? corn, carrot, yes, fried rice, yes. Avocado is actually more of a healthy fat. So avocado is more like an olive oil alternative. Oats, yes. Soft tofu is more of protein. So, what is carbohydrate food? I think carbohydrate over the course of many years receive the bad rep. If you are sick, you're not feeling well, or you want to lose weight, the first thing you do is I'm gonna cut carbohydrate out of my meals. But I'm here to tell you, actually, carbohydrate is one of the most important food group in your diet. So carbohydrate consists of all your starches. So like you said, your rice, your noodles, your bread. Um, it also is found in a dairy product. So your milk, your cheese also have carbohydrate. But what are some other carbohydrate foods that are super beneficial? Your fruits, your vegetables, your beans, your lentils, chickpeas also contain carbohydrate. So rather than focusing on cutting down carbohydrate, which is an important food group, I always emphasize the need to focus on introducing or including the carbohydrate that is beneficial to you. So then you ask me, so what are beneficial carbohydrate? I think is quite straightforward in some sense. And what's straightforward is that of course the fruits and vegetables are beneficial, aiming for 2 servings of fruits and 2 servings of vegetables. Um, but what about your rice, your noodle, your potato, your bread? Actually, potatoes are pretty rich in antioxidants as well. But with your rice, with your noodle, and with your bread and pastas, there are many different types. So what I will compare is the two generic type. One is your white bread, your white rice, your uh, white flour that is used to make noodles, comparing to a bigger category called the whole grain. So like your whole wheat bread, whole wheat pasta, brown rice, quinoa, couscous, barley, and corn. So these categories called refined carbohydrate are your white rice, your white pasta, and complex or like whole grain carbohydrate. So the difference between whole grain and refined grain is in its fiber content and vitamins and minerals. So whenever they harvest rice, so the main example I will give now is brown rice versus white rice. In order to get white rice, what they do is that they harvest the grain of rice and they process it to remove the outer layer, which basically is the bran layer, and that's basically fiber and what results in a tougher consistency in brown rice. They remove that layer and they remove the innermost layer where there are some vitamins and healthy fat as well, and they keep the white rice, which the second mainly composed of the second layer of a grain, and that's pure carbohydrate that is quickly broken down into glucose. When you eat brown rice, you not only get the carbohydrate that is broken down into glucose, you get your fiber, you get the vitamins, and you get some healthy fats as well. So this is why it's so important to include a good amount of carbohydrate in your diet, and also the right type of carbohydrate, because the right type of carbohydrate will provide you with the vitamins and minerals, and most importantly in today's topic, the fiber that you need to improve your gut health. Milk and cheese does contain carbohydrate, but they're generally higher or like seen more as a protein food. Mushroom is I guess is a type of fungi, not so much under vegetable as well. But yeah. Okay, so maybe just to quickly end off, because I also want to address all the questions that came in. From a scale of 1 to 5, being 5 being most willing, how willing are you to change your diet if it meant improving your mood and mental health? I'm seeing 2 votes. Okay, more are coming in. Okay, so I think majority says 4 or 5, and about 3 of you says you are unsure. Maybe those who are unsure, do reach out to your dietitian more in the Naluri chat. This is a good chance for you to talk to your dietitian, learn more about gut health, and even if you're not looking to lose weight, you're not looking to improve your cholesterol levels or blood pressure, but you're just looking to improve your mood overall, do talk to the dietitians as well. Then four or five of you say I'm willing but I need more info. Yes, I'll try anything. So I'm gonna assume that in the next few days I'm gonna be receiving, and also my colleagues, other dietitians, will be receiving more reach out in the chats concerning this topic. So these are some of the practical steps that we can do for ourselves to improve our overall gut health and also mental health. So the first one, of course, is food journal, because today the main topic is how food can affect our mental health. So the more you upload food journal, the more as dietitians are able to get clarity on your overall diet, um, and give you practical suggestions and tips, especially in light of gut health, if that is something that you are keen to work on. Second, increase your activity. So this is something I didn't touch as much because it's not the topic today. But exercise have also shown to improve the gut diversity. So the more you exercise, especially cardio, it can result in an increased diversity in your gut bacteria, resulting in a better gut health. Um, reach out to us. Again, reach out to us in the chat. We also have resources in ways where you can increase your fiber intake. And then lastly, of course, mood journal in light of this mind and mood summit, and also the month of October. Do be mindful of your food intake as well. So you can always practice mood journaling in light of the food that you are eating as well. And maybe that will bring light to what food can affect your mood as well, and bring it up to your attention. So I think that's the end of my presentation. For the next few slides, these are just slides that we want to show as part of this summit, and some support and resources. So we do have the free 24/7 Naluri care lines and text lines. So if anyone need to talk to someone, please do reach out. And these are the different numbers to call in different countries. Then second is a free Naluri emotional well-being assessment. I think majority of you are probably familiar with the DAS-21, but in October we have released a shortened version of the DAS-21, and is what we call the emotional well-being assessment. So if you guys have your phones now, do take the assessment now, based on the QR code that is given. But if not, I will highly encourage you to take this test as well, and based on that, maybe talk to the dietitian in ways you can improve your mood through diet. Lastly, the Naluri Mood Journal. This is something that I already mentioned earlier in the steps, the practical steps to take. You can choose the mood, and you can even do this in base of your during meal times after you eat. 1 hour after you eat, you can log in a mood journal. Tell me how you feel and what you eat before that. Lastly, we also provide one-on-one Naluri consultation. So should anyone need a one-on-one consultation, you can go to this QR code as well. Consultation is available for a lot of the coaches that we have, not just mental health coaches, but also dietitians and fitness. And Naluri is not just on the app, but is also on the web as well. And I think that's it. So let me address the questions now. I don't know where to start, where the first question is. Okay, I'm scrolling through the chat to see what's the first question. If Bakis, you can help me, that will be great as well. Glad to see how you guys are so participative in the chat. Okay, I cannot find where. The chat is very long, but I
Hi,
think
Shirley.
yes,
Yes, okay. If you can see on the admin side, right, on the chat
yes.
box, yeah, there's the question mark.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's all the questions.
Okay. So the first question is: I have constipation issue. What food to avoid? Do I need more micro? Do I need more gut microbes? I'm thinking. So, eh, why is the questions moving? Sorry. Does it go from bottom to up or up to bottom? Oh, I guess bottom to up.
I think it's bottom to up.
Okay, sorry. Um, okay, let me tackle that question I just read. So, if you have constipation issue, usually we recommend high fiber food. But fiber has two types. One is soluble, one is insoluble. So the insoluble fiber is mainly found in vegetables, and it helps to sort of increase bulk because it's indigestible, and it sort of just pushes things along. Um, the soluble fiber is fiber that sort of absorbs water, so it forms like a gel-like substance. So I would encourage that when you have constipation, you can look to increase intake of soluble fiber food, mainly from your fruits. You can also include legumes, lentils, chickpeas, beans. These foods can help increase your intake of soluble fiber, and then increase your water content in your digestive tract to help improve constipation. But of course, again, if this is chronic, do reach out to your dietitian. And there are studies are showing that if you have chronic constipation, there are probiotic supplements that can possibly help with it effectively. Okay, let me go up to the first question then. What is BDNF? So BDNF is called, the full name is brain-derived neurotropic factor. But basically, BDNF is a protein that is produced in our body. And BDNF, like I say in my slides just now, it helps to improve your overall brain plasticity and brain and uh, forming new neurons for brain health. Yep. And then, can you give example of my Mediterranean diet? So, examples of food that is in the Mediterranean diet will be your olives, your olive oils. Avocado is a good one. Fatty fishes like salmon, tuna, sardines. Cod liver, cod fish, which is very expensive. So that's okay if not everyone can afford it. Nuts and seeds are very high in the Mediterranean diet as well, and of course, fruits and vegetables. So when you think of a rainbow, that's what the Mediterranean diet look like, eating a variety of plant-based food. Well, pre and probiotic supplement helps with gut health. I think that's something that I've already sort of touched upon in my presentation, but just to briefly cover, supplement probiotic supplement can help with individual chronic symptoms that is related to gut health, but in terms of overall health, there hasn't been studies that shows its benefit. But what studies are showing is that there's a lot of benefits in improving gut health if you can include high fiber rich food and probiotic rich food in your diet. How do we keep our gut happy when consuming antibiotics? So I think with eating antibiotics, when it first came out, I feel like I'm in the generation where it was quite a new thing. Antibiotics was quite a new thing, and it's something that doctors easily prescribe. Whenever you come into the clinic, you have a flu or you have a cough, they prescribe you antibiotics without actually checking really what is the cause of the flu and the cough. So sometimes if it's virus, we don't even need antibiotics. Antibiotics only works for bacteria. So again, I think it's also having that knowledge now, knowing that antibiotics shouldn't be prescribed lightly just based on flu symptoms and cough symptoms, but understanding that um, antibiotics can also result in killing all your good bacteria, then now we want to be more mindful whenever we get sick. Maybe check with the doctor, is this something I really need? And what bacteria do I have? Because usually that requires further testing that they don't do in the general clinic as well. So I would say, as much as you can, avoid antibiotics unless necessarily needed, because they found that a certain bacteria that requires antibiotic. And of course, after you take antibiotic, that's when you finish the course, you want to increase your intake of probiotic food and prebiotic food as well. How to get more omega-3 for vegan and vegetarian. So for vegan and vegetarian omega-3 sources, definitely plant-based foods. So all your olive oil. So use olive oils for your cooking oils, and also extra virgin olive oil for your dressings. And apart from that, all your nuts and seeds. So all the nuts contain some form of omega-3. Also your seeds, like your chia seeds, or I think some people are more familiar with it being pronounced as chia seeds or flax seeds. All these are rich in omega-3. So actually omega-3 is not just found in fishes, but it's also found a lot in nuts and seeds and oils. Will nuts and seeds increase uric acid? This is a myth. And this is something you can talk to your dietitian. And actually, it shows that increasing plant based food in your diet might help you with your gout or uric acid levels. A lot of the the food that is sort of high uric acid are mainly your livers, your red meat. But talk to your dietitians more about this. Will Since I'm allergic to nuts, what shall I replace it with? Again, if you're allergic to nuts, um, it's not the end for you. You have a wide array of other omega-3 such as fishes. You have your avocado. You have your seeds as well. I'm not sure what seeds you might or might not be allergic, but also your olive oils. And if the concern is more for fiber, apart from nuts, fiber is found in fruits and vegetables and whole grains. And I think whole grains is one that I always want to work on with members, because um, we mainly eat white rice, and that just takes away the opportunity for us to get a wide dose of fiber from brown rice or from quinoa, corn, couscous, barley. Any suggestion on best apps that is useful for the food journal? I would say our Naluri food journal is, I would say there's definitely room for improvement. We currently have an AI dietitian called Luca who would comment and rate it. For us dietitians, if you are in our chat, if you're chatting with us dietitians, normally we would have the habit of going into your food journals once in a while, at least once weekly, to review the food journals you post and the comments given by the AI dietitian, and we'll correct it if the AI dietitian is inaccurate, which is there. I agree, there is a lot of room for improvement in that area. But yeah, using the food journal is good on one hand, but you want a food journal that can bring in suggestion and comments that are practical. So the Naluri app not only have the food journal, but you also have access to the chat with us as well. I hear about a gut reset. I have to be honest, I'm not so familiar with the gut reset, but I think when it talks about the gut reset, it mainly involves maybe after you've taken a dose of, or like not a dose, you've completed the dosage for antibiotics and you need sort of a gut reset. Then maybe you can talk more to the dietitians in terms of how to include more probiotic and prebiotic food to help replenish and recover from your antibiotics. But in general, I think there's no way for us to sort of have a gut reset, but we can always work on improving it. Is there any mobile app that we can use for free for food or mood journal? Um, this I'm not too sure, but I know that the Naluri provide that. And I guess all of you here have the Naluri app, right? Okay. I'm not, I'll see the chat later on for this if you guys respond in the chat, but I want to answer all the questions. For high cholesterol, what food should be taken less and what food can be taken more to improve? So for high cholesterol, this is not the topic for today, but in general, high cholesterol, we want to increase unsaturated fat, which is also your omega-3 and your omega-6. And another key thing that is in line with this topic is that fiber is a very important nutrient, not just for gut health. Fiber plays a big role in weight management. Fiber plays a big role in cholesterol management as well. So just in short, when you eat fiber, fiber can hold on to some of the cholesterol in your digestive tract, excretes it in your feces. So your body has to use up more underlying cholesterol, mainly in the blood, to make hormones. So then helps you to reduce your cholesterol as well. Is kombucha really good for gut health? Again, here, I think it's good to include probiotic rich foods such as kombucha, but kombucha also comes with a high amount of sugar generally. So I say it is okay to include them day to day, but I wouldn't suggest having them every day all the time. And more importantly than probiotic rich food is really your prebiotic rich food, your fiber, high fiber food, and that's where your focus should really be on. What is your advice on the ideal selection of healthy food for smokers? High antioxidant, high antioxidants and high fiber rich food as well. And Balkis, I'm not sure why, but the questions are gone now. It went into handout. I think. Okay, any microbiome tests we can do to ensure? I'm just looking at the chat now.
Surely, actually, you can go back to the question mark box. They
Okay.
should still be there. Click the chat. Mm.
Okay. Anyway, it's past 3. Is it okay we still go on, or what's your take?
I think we can give time until 3 or 5.
Okay, can.
Mm.
So, are there any microbiome tests we can do for IBS? There definitely is. Unfortunately, I'm not in Malaysia. I'm actually based in Singapore. So do check with the dietitians in the chat for more information on microbiome testing in Malaysia. But I want to say, Amelie, there is one that is in Singapore and in also Malaysia. That's something you can check out. But a lot of microbiome test, gut health microbiome testing, which rely on the stool test, is quite expensive. Um, so yeah, do check with the dietitian should you find one and want to know whether this is a good one to go for. Review about taking Yakult and Vitagen for tummy. I think this is similar to what I've said about probiotic supplement. I personally don't take any Yakult or Vitagen on a daily. I take them more for pleasure if I want to once in a while, or if I go to a party and that's available, or in a drink that I'm drinking. But basically, in Yakult and Vitagen, the amount of probiotic in there might not result in sort of health benefits. Yeah, and it's also high in sugar as well. Constant gastritis, can you suggest a good approach? So for one who have constant gastritis, um, gastritis can be affected by a lot of different things, and I'm not 100% sure how it can be affected to gut health. But again, with gastritis, I think mainly the general recommendation I can give is to ensure that you are eating on regularly at the right time that your body needs it. Usually, you should have a schedule. Like for my mom have a constant gastritis, but usually it acts up when she's eating when she eats late. So different individuals may experience gastritis due to different factors. So maybe for yours, it's good to explore with a dietitian. Is it concerning a certain kind of food? Is it mainly during a certain time of the day? So based on that, the recommendation and suggestions can change from person to person. And I think I got all the questions. Yes. Uh, I do have another question. Are sacha, inchi oil good for diet? I don't know what that is. Reach out to your dietitian. She can do a little bit more research for you and see whether that's something that is beneficial. And apple cider vinegar, sorry, it's coming in. But apple cider vinegar, I would say there is not much research foundational to it. Research is not showing any benefits if you're taking it day to day. Yeah. If you have any question, reach out to your dietitian. We are all very eager to talk to you in the chat. Back to you, Balki.
Okay, thank you, Shirley. 1 second, let me share the next slide. Okay, thank you so much, Shirley, for the great insight shared on the gut mood connection. I'm also learning and jotting things down as we go. And I hope that if the audiences have learned at least one new thing from Shirley today, please remember to share your good feedback on the feedback form that we'll be sharing right now. And also, if you are curious to learn more, check out the link in the chat box or scan the QR code that is on right now for the other webinars that we have today and tomorrow. They are all still open. So there's about 4 sessions that are still ongoing, which is this evening and then 3 sessions tomorrow. Just send that. Okay. And then I have already shared the slides, okay, for today's session in the chat box because everyone was asking for it. And for the recording, it will be sent to your emails. Don't worry. Once the recording are done, usually it will be sent. Okay. So I hope to those that didn't get your questions answered, I hope it's okay. You can still ask your dietitian on the Naluri app. So I think we can wrap it up now. Until then, I hope you guys have a very good rest of the day. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, everyone. See you soon. Bye bye.